we're kind of in a similar position where we're finally at a stage where I feel like we can start doing some marketing for ourselves in terms of spending money. And I am toying with the idea of cold emails. I'm toying with the idea of social and all that. Just what I'll take your 2 cents for right now. What you think the best place to start is in terms of volume, in terms of bang for the buck type of thing. For our market is really it's kind of shaping out to be venture backed healthcare businesses, early stage startups, and just what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, this is really cool. So essentially like health tech.
Exactly.
So really cool space. There's somebody else. What's good is you have a model. Like I share everything that I do pretty openly, and so does everybody else here. Dominic, who's a member of Blueprint, also targets health tech exclusively. And you would be amazed. You would think like if you narrow down that much that like the market is really small, but like the immediate feedback we got from him is just simply like posting on LinkedIn regularly about that space and about the things we're all talking about generally, but like just keep saying, on your profile, on your company, like it should say like healthcare, SaaS and software, or like health tech, or like make sure they know this is only for them. And like people will always like he posts stuff and people like this applies to everything. Yeah, but that's not who I'm talking to. So I think about stuff like that. That is a viable space. Yes, it is a great positioning to have. Social can do really well, like LinkedIn can do really, really well there. Like you can do outbound and stuff. I think the big question for me is just figure out who the like amplifiers and influencers are. Like whenever I think about growing, like one thing we've never really taught or explored at Blueprint, like in terms of like sharing it with everybody, is like what partnerships look like. What do really strong like go-to-market partnerships where it's a lot of like, how do I get shared by these people that have this audience? I think about that a lot. It's a really like when I look at all the referrals I've gotten over the years, my work in equipping other people to share me with people that are perfect to work with me has paid off tremendously. If you're doing other things like ads, obviously would do really, really well, but I'm just such a big believer. I've seen so much upside. A lot of my contributions to Blueprint have been content marketing. When I looked at the amount of pipeline, I think I generated of qualified leads, not just like general, like people love to share this, like we generated $10 million in leads last year, like screw that, like how many were actually qualified? I think I personally generated $2 million in qualified leads last year, and half of that came from LinkedIn. No previous relationship, no referral, no like we're in a community together. I use only self-reported attribution, and almost everybody was like, me or somebody on my team follows you on LinkedIn and you get it. I hear that all the time. I like the way you think and you get it. That like very hand wavy, but like getting it is one of the biggest things that gets people to reach out, So the more you can show people that you get their unique thing is a game changer. On that note though, a lot of people share a lot of like tactical advice and around SEO or marketing. The problem is that attracts other SEOs and marketers, not your customer. Like like I made a post today on LinkedIn that was like here's like things that you need to have in your contract to protect you from agencies. That is only going to attract people that work at companies, not other agencies, not other SEO people. In fact, though, a lot of them commented and were like mad. So I think like, how do we get on their side of the table? I don't know if you've ever heard this, like it's a old school, like in-person sales technique where like, they'll like when somebody's selling to you, instead of sitting across the desk from you, they actually pull up 2 chairs on the same side of the desk. Doing that digitally is huge. So anything you can do to get on the same side of the table as them is incredibly effective. Like I said, the channels I mentioned kind of do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. If you have follow-up questions, you can tell I have trouble shutting stuff.
Yeah, my only follow-up question is my hesitance with something like LinkedIn is that of just audience building. Like I have so much to do already. What does it take to really build up an audience where I'm going to be like posting it in seen?
It does take time. I think choosing the medium that you can be pretty prolific in matters a lot. Like if you're good at video, do video. If you're good at writing, do writing. You have to have something. Everybody starts podcasts, and podcasts are great, but they're not. Podcasts are about depth, not breadth. You don't start a podcast and then like attract 1 million people in your audience. Like It's a really big mistake that everybody thinks they're going to be like Joe Rogan or like some pop culture phenomenon. Like it's not. You do a podcast because you want to go super deep with a small group of people, right? That you probably already have. You need some sort of discoverability, and podcasts still suck at discoverability. So video or writing is usually the way to go. Pick one of those and then be willing to have it like take some time. Really look at the platforms you're on. Like if you're doing LinkedIn, like buy some courses on LinkedIn. I have some I can recommend. Get really good at that medium. Same thing, like anything else. Like if you're doing short form video on TikTok, or you're doing long form on YouTube, whatever, figure out that algorithm and be like, what actually gets this in front of people? I think you'll think it's less than you think. Like I was really surprised when Dom started really going all in on LinkedIn. And he was like, first post, I already got a lead. And I don't think that's common at all, but I was surprised. And he was like kind of keeping us updated during that time of what he was seeing. And like, again, when you're like very good at honing in on the problems they have, you'd be surprised like how quickly you become like the person to follow.